improving mining safety and the role of technology in achieving sustainable extraction. Then finally, we have our very amiable Dr. Comfort Asokoro-Ogaji, the Executive Director of Women in Mining Africa, who is a leader and advocate for gender equity in mining. So she also serves as the Managing Director for Richfield Group, which is nearly 20 decades old, and she has a lot of experience in environmental and social responsibility, critical mineral processing, and sustainable resource beneficiation. Dr. Comfort has been instrumental in leading ESIA for over 250 development bank projects, including those that have been financed by the IFC and the AFDB. She's an ardent supporter of women's empowerment in mining, working closely with industry leaders, policymakers, and community organizations to drive meaningful change across communities in Africa. So Dr. Comfort will be sharing from her wealth of experience on leadership, sustainability, and advancing gender inclusion in mining. As you can see, today we are truly privileged to have all these accomplished professionals with us today, and their insights and experiences are going to be valuable to us. So let us start by recording our attendance in the chat box. The link will be posted down below while we continue the conversation. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Antonia, for that introduction. And once again, I welcome all of us, the panel discussants, to this event. All the NextGen are advised to put down their attendance for it's important that we have your attendance recorded so that be very sure of your participation. So I will just quickly take us through about 3 slides that I have to generally give us a background understanding in industry. This event is scheduled and is being executed. Look into or are already in the mining industry and trying to find their foot and where they can best serve. So I would let us know, all of us that are here and that are going to listen to the recording later, plays a very, very critical role in the Africa's economic development. And we as women even have more role to play in order to shape the future of mining in the continent. So this mentorship program that we have put together, the pathways, is aimed at also giving us knowledge that we need. The passion that we need to ignite is aimed at igniting it for us and to give us the requisite knowledge that is needed, that you need, the motivation that you need to remain in the sector or right now. So next, key sectors in mining. The mining sector is very broad, multiple areas that you can specialize on. I started on the environmental aspects of managing the mining activities in Nigeria. That's where I started from. With investors, with mining companies, environmental management is very, very critical. It may not be environmental management that is your end. Exploration and geology. We have a who read geology. You need in the that had to do specialize in specific aspects of the sector that you have picked interest in and that you want to build on. The environmental and social governance aspect, yes, that's where I initially started. And then I'm also in the health and safety management sector for the mining industry. So you can also consider that sector. It's available and you can study, you can develop yourself, build your capacity, do self-development effort apart from your first degree in order to master in any of these sectors in the mining industry. So we have mine economics also and finance, which is basically assessing investment potential and financial viability of mining projects. I was discussing the other day with a university in London, and they were showing me the interconnectedness of the mining industry itself. That it's not just those who have read geology. Someone could read supply chain management and be very, very useful in the industry. Or you could be an accountant and you are focused on the mining sector, developing feasibility studies as part of a big team, or even the preliminary economic assessment of a mine. So this is the diversity that we have in the mining sector. Another you can have is technology and digital transformation. We all know how this is paramount at this point in time. So this is an aspect that you can major in depending on your field of study and what interest and what you naturally, most of us naturally tend towards digital, applying AI into our operations. You can also major in that and serve the mining sector excellently. We also have the policy regulation. Working in government agencies to develop mining policies, you can be very useful in that line as well. These are options that you can take on. Then entrepreneurship and consultancy. You can provide specialized mining services or start your own mining business. You can see our women who are in the artisanal mining space who haven't been in school, even in most cases. They are there in the artisanal mining space and they're doing a lot and achieving great results. So you can also take an interest in the entrepreneurship aspects of mining, either in the field as a miner in the field or any of these areas that we have mentioned above. So the industry also, the industry trends that is shaping the future. There is a high interest right now in green mining and sustainability. This is an opportunity for you as a young woman in mining. People are now shifting towards sustainable mining and they're shifting towards environmentally friendly technologies for almost every commodity in the market right now. So you can key into that and build a career in that direction. Automations and artificial intelligence, as I mentioned earlier, this is also an aspect that is being developed and is rapidly growing. If you key into it and you are IT savvy, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to build a career in the mining industry. Then we have the battery minerals and renewable energy. The growing demand for lithium, for cobalt, as we all know, and other minerals for clean energy is on the rise. You can key into that and be a part of providing solutions in that space. We have the women in leadership also. The rise of women in executive roles and technical fields within the mining. So some people may be business administrators, but you can major in the mining industry and you can be so very in that area as well. So that's my short contribution for now. Then later on, I will come back to make some presentation. But this is myself and the team in London, where we visited about seven mining facilities, both the mine sites and the mineral processing stations, laboratories. It was a wonderful experience meeting the women in mining all across. Behind here is from Chile, and most of these are within the UK, and myself from Nigeria. So this is a field you should really be interested in. There's a lot to do and it's to be working in this sector as well. Over to you, Dr. Antonia. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ma, for that that presentation. So we're moving to the next aspect of our event today, which is the speakers who are going to be making presentations, 10, 15 minutes presentations, after which we'll have the question and answer session of about 5 minutes. So we're going to be starting with Madam Michelle Wambela, if she's in the room. If she's not in the room, can we begin with Ms. Bess?
I think
Are
I
you
Hi,
see
there?
I am
her.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Michelle
ma'am.
is here.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So wait. Good afternoon. I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, go
Yes, you
ahead.
are. Very clear. You're
Okay.
welcome, madam.
Please, just Michelle. Good afternoon, ladies and the gentlemen in the chat room. It's a pleasure to be here today and to interact with very many inspirational women and women who will lead the future of the mining sector in Africa and hopefully globally. So as you've heard, my name is Michelle Mwambela. I currently work with the Association for Women in Energy and Extractives in Kenya. And allow me to just, share my story and maybe share the opportunities that I think I find in the mining space in Africa right now. So my background is legal. I'm not technical in the field of mining. I'm not a geologist or an engineer. I'm a lawyer by training. And when I was doing my undergraduate, there's a course that is called public interest course, which I undertook when I was in my fourth year of the university. And this led me to be in a civil society organization, a local civil society organization that worked with communities that were affected by mining activities. And so their focus was more environmental justice. And that got me working with quite a number of communities in the southern part of Kenya. Now, during this time, this was about 2014. You can guess my age, I guess, if you work backwards. During this time, Kenya was doing an overhaul review of its mining law, which was passed in 2016. But this was the time when the clamor for change was really significant in the country. We used to operate prior to the 2016 law. We were operating with a law that was designed in 1945. So this was deep, during the colonial period. Now, being attached to this local organization and me being a fourth year law student, I was charged with engaging stakeholders because of environmental pollution and other human rights issues. You know, in areas that mining is taking place. And so that sort of shaped everything else and my decision to be in the space that I am in now. And why women specifically? So, fast forward, I'm now a lawyer. I got an opportunity to work part time for AWIC, the Association for Women. And during that time, I interacted a lot with now women who are engaged in actual mining activities because my previous experience was mining communities communities affected by mining. And now my experience was dealing with women who are doing the actual extraction and processing of, whether it's gemstones or some of the industrial minerals, gold, and I realized that we all know the challenges that women face, gender-based violence, lack of access to finance, access to markets, access to resources such as land that would enable them to be able to scale their operations. And that sort of spurred now my deeper passion of working within the mining industry. Over the years, since 2016, 2017, thereabouts, I've done a lot of work in championing for women's involvement in the mining space, the mining policy, as well as energy, but specifically for this session, the mining aspect. Now, if you were to ask what opportunities are there, I think, Dr. Comfort, you have sort of alluded to some of them, the specific. So for me, there has strides that have been made in some countries more than others. But if I'm to just highlight some of those before we speak about the opportunities, is one, now there's more women doing STEM courses, whether it's at the university level, whether it's at the TVET and vocational training level, but we find more young women, more women getting into spaces that, a decade ago were just, we had outliers, excellence in this session. Number two is some of the progress we've also made is having a bit more women in decision-making spaces, more women leaders, more women in government positions that are able to champion for the interests and rights of women, women who lead organizations, whether it's private sector or non-profits. So that in itself, I think, has started to draw a map towards the future that we want to see specifically for women. Something else is there's more recognition to entrench gender policies within all spaces that we work in, whether it's at national or subnational levels, whether it's in the corporates, there is more acceptance as to mainstreaming of gender. This is being followed, and whether there are markers or indicators that we're able to measure on progress, that's another story. But I think it's important to recognize a few milestones that we've been able to make. Then organizations like WiM-Africa that are able to champion women's issues at a regional and global level. AWAKE is a national level organization, but I know many other organizations that champion for women's rights and women's opportunities across the continent and globally. And that in itself, I think, is an achievement for women. Then finally, there is the non-technical aspects of mining or of this sector that has been very technical in the past. Like now with technology, to be a geologist, you don't have to be a mining engineer, you don't have to have an environmental background to be able to participate at some level. And I think, again, in your brief presentation, Dr. Comfort, you've alluded to the fact that some of the opportunities that are rising, whether it's in human resource, whether it's in advocacy, whether it's in the legal aspects or supply chain and things like that, still women are able to find spaces to plug into the industry without having the technical knowledge and skills to do that. Now, with all these things that I've talked about, they in themselves are opportunities. They're opportunities for younger women to plug in. They're opportunities for us to have more regional collaboration and integration in terms of supply chains working across. How are we looking at developing and ensure safety and health for women that is standardized? Because seeing like the Mali incident from last month, where 40 women, I think maybe even 50 women lost their lives in a mine accident. Earlier this month in a gold mine as well. So how are we making sure that we're standardizing and we're able to really write safety for women in the mines so that we don't have recurrence of incidences that are then other opportunities, I believe, lie in the policy and advocacy work, but more importantly, in the financing of women. Just an hour or so ago, I came across a post that talked about women being over-mentored and under-financed. So, Dr. Comfort, there's a for you there. As we mentor women, how are we making sure that we are also connecting women to the much needed finance to scale their operations, to be able to operate in a responsible manner and to access the markets, because all these things need access to resources. If we don't connect them to the right partners who are able to help them, progress, then really this narrative will be a rhetoric that we'll keep engaging in. So I think the work is cut out for us with all the, the leaders here and the young women that are coming up and really shining. That for me, from where I sit, those are some of the areas that we explore to be able to harness as much value as possible. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Madam Michelle. That was comprehensive in a short time. And I agree with you absolutely that over-mentored and underfunded. That is very, very true. But then we'll all have a role to even awake as well. We have a role to play to make sure we launch relevant programs that boost the funding, like a program we have that we call the Investment Readiness Program at WiM-Africa, this investment readiness came about because when we spoke with the funding partners that could fund the women-led organizations, we discovered that, yes, they are not ready for funding. There are parameters before a funding partner would be interested in you. Everyone that is investing wants their monies secure, through the structure that you have in place. And without one, it is a high risk for them to even contemplate. So these are the areas we are already talking about, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. It shows strong on the needs that we have. If you run a needs assessment, you will see that keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. So thanks very much for showing that. And I know that you're busy. We have a few questions for you. Bess, if you can be a bit patient, let's ask Madam Michelle a few questions before she leaves. She's in a high-profile event in Addis today, but she had to make room for us. So Dr.